Hey friends, I had a bit of a quiet moment this morning, so I thought it would be a great time to show you guys around our garden, a little bit around our property. I wanted to show you all our different fruit trees. When we moved in, we didn't really know what trees were what, and so as things have started to bloom and start showing a little bit of fruit, we can figure out what things are. So it's been kind of fun to see all the different things we have. Let me show you first our garden. We didn't think we were going to get, or I didn't think we were going to get a garden going this year just because we just moved in and it was crazy, but it really was a group effort. The kids helped a lot getting the garden bed weeded out. There was already a garden bed here from the previous owners, but it was way overgrown, so it took a lot of work to get it cleared out of weeds, and it has a certain type of weed that just takes over, so we had to work really hard to keep that from just taking the entire bed. There's still lots in there because we have to weed it constantly, but anyways, it hasn't affected the growth of the plants that we wanted to grow, so that's good. The location of the garden is just right across the driveway from the house, so the house is there, the very back of the house, and then right across the driveway is the garden, so it's real close to the house, which is good because I think deer and other animals don't come super close to eat all of the stuff. Eventually we want to get like a bigger garden, maybe up higher. The creek is right behind the garden there, and so like up higher we want to get like maybe a bigger garden going, but then we'll probably have to work harder to get animals not to eat everything. So for now we just have our little garden bed and it's working out great. Let me show you what we got growing. The sun just decided to break through the clouds just now. There's our giant sunflowers there in the back. We got like mammoth, I think it was called mammoth sunflowers, and they have been doing great. We're excited for them to open up. It looks like they're getting ready to do that here pretty soon. Here in the front we have cucumbers, and these cucumber plants I thought for sure were gonna die. Everything else kind of took off, but they really took a while to get going. But just recently they've really looked a lot healthier, and we've got some little flowers in there. And let's see, do we have any little baby cucumbers yet? I don't know if I see any yet, but mostly just little flowers. So hopefully we'll get a little something from that. They're doing okay. Oh wait, there's one. Look at that. Look at that nice little cucumber we got. Cute little thing. Then over in this section is our herb garden. Our thyme is doing really well. Basil, we got a couple of basil plants. They came together. I got them from Trader Joe's. They always have beautiful basil plants at Trader Joe's. And eventually we separated them and got them going, and I thought those were going to die too. They really looked in rough shape, but they came back and now they're doing great. I just harvested a bunch this morning. I'm going to have to make pesto or something delicious like that. This is lavender, and it flowered already, and it looks like it's about to flower again. It's got lots of little buds, so that's wonderful. This is rosemary. It's doing great as long as we don't let the weeds take over. This is a rescue sage plant that my mom picked up from the store that was about dead, and I think she probably got it on clearance or something because it was close to death, but we're going to see if we can revive that. This is oregano, and it is doing pretty good. This one was just planted a couple weeks ago, I think, and it's doing great. This is lemon balm, and it's actually from our property. Talia found it, and she thought it looked different from the other plants around, and so we have these like plant scanning apps, and so she scanned it and found out it was lemon balm, and it smells amazing, and so she transplanted a few plants here. I don't know if these ones are going to make it, but this one looks like it's doing pretty good. And then we have parsley, and this is another rosemary plant that was a salvage rosemary plant. We'll see if we can get that one back as well. Then we have a few different pepper plants. I tried to save all the little signs so that we could remember what we got, but lunchbox orange peppers, let's see, sweet banana peppers, and that one looks like it's doing pretty good. And then I know we got some jalapenos, and some that's the sweet pepper plant. We'll see what we get from those. It looks like this is the only one so far that's really doing much, but there's a little teeny pepper there, little teeny pepper. The tomato plants are growing really well, and we finally just saw a few little teeny tomatoes popping through. This plant, the bigger one, is a cherry tomatoes, and then this one's more of a bigger slicing tomato. And there's a couple back there getting ready. Then these behemoth plants back here are zucchini and yellow squash. There's 4 plants, and they kind of all are going together. I just pruned them really heavily because they were just taking over, and they weren't getting pollinated well. And so I watched some videos, and they said to prune it, make sure there's enough room for the bees to like find the flowers. And so I did that this morning, so we'll see if that helps, because they were just we were getting little teeny squashes and zucchinis, and then they were shriveling up. So hopefully the bees will be able to find them now. So this is a yellow squash plant, and you can see this plant is just enormous. Like, that's the stalk right there, and all the leaves and stuff are coming off of it. It's just, the plant is doing great. We just haven't gotten a lot of squash off of them yet. Then this one here, you can see, is a zucchini plant. There's a little zucchini down there. And there's another one there. Hopefully those ones will develop a little better than others. And then this is another yellow squash plant. And there's a little squash on there that hopefully will do all right. There's a little bit bigger one here, getting ready to be big enough to pick. And one more zucchini plant here. And this one has several zucchinis on it that look like they're getting close. And then behind the zucchinis here, we have several different pumpkins and squash. We have some butternut squash and some, I forget the pumpkin varieties we got. We got a couple different kind, and they really seem like they're doing well. They've cascaded down into this other little garden bed that we have behind here. We didn't have anything planted in there, and so that's a good place for them to go. They keep trying to climb up this Japanese maple tree, so they are really taking over. Hopefully we'll get some good squash and pumpkins in the fall. Let's see if I can find some little baby ones here. There's a little baby pumpkin back there. There's another one right there. And there. Oh, here's another one down here. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. There it is. Little pumpkins. There's teeny tiny ones still coming. There's another one right there. I don't know if that is a pumpkin or a squash. I think it might be a squash. I think I planted Hubbard squash, and I know I planted butternut squash. So there's the lower garden bed right here that we didn't have anything planted in, but it's just getting filled up with pumpkin vines and all that. So that's a good use of space. There's another teeny one down there. Now we'll head around back to the other side and show you the green beans. So this whole row back to the garden shed in front of the sunflowers is green beans. I did bush beans instead of pole beans because I didn't want to have to rig up anything. So they're doing actually really well. We've already gotten a couple different meals worth of green beans. There's a little bitty one. There's one. I just picked them yesterday morning, so there's probably a few in here, but I'll probably not pick them again until tomorrow, and then we'll have another little meal's worth. It's the next day now, and this is our green bean harvest. The biggest green bean harvest yet. This is going to make a great side dish for dinner. They're just so cute and fuzzy. So we actually have a lot of those because that's a whole 2 rows, even though they kind of have grown together. I thought I had spaced them enough, but they really seem to be doing well. So they took over that space. This is strawberries, and actually we had volunteer strawberry plants. We didn't plant any of them, and we found a few volunteer strawberry plants, and we transplanted them over here, and then they've really taken over, and they're kind of going nuts. So we're going to have to capture some of these little shoots and have a real strawberry patch for next year. That'll be great. But you can see these weeds are taking over. These are the ones that just grow like crazy. You can completely weed the entire garden one day and come out the next day and it's like you didn't even do anything. That's what it feels like, at least. And the roots for these just go crazy, and you can dig through and just like pull them out like they're big spaghetti or something. It's absolutely nuts. And it's definitely, this garden bed was definitely overrun with these when no one was taking care of things. So they've really just taken over, and we've been working real hard to try to keep them down. And then there's a closer look on those sunflowers. They're just so massive, and it'll be exciting when those open up. The last part of the garden over here is these tires. These were here when we moved in, and we decided to throw some stuff in. We had a few more plants than we had anticipated, and so the garden was filled, so we went ahead and put some squash and pumpkins in here. And at first they did really well, and I think it was because the tires kept the heat really well, and that's what it needed at first. But then we had some record-breaking hot days, super, super, super hot, and I think that is when the tires got a little bit too hot, and so they don't look as healthy as they did before. So we'll see what happens, but they still are growing. They're not gone yet, so we'll see what happens. This is another pumpkin plant, but you can see it just got fried, but there's still some little stuff going on here at the ends, so we'll see what happens. And then this one, I think, was a butternut squash. Yeah, you can see the little teeny squash here. Hopefully that one will turn into something. So that is our little vegetable garden. Hopefully next year we'll have something a little bit bigger, but for this year it's absolutely perfect, and we're already getting lots of stuff, so we're very happy with it. Now on to the fruit trees. So the first one I'll show you is right here. Just turn around. We got some plums here, and this tree is not super healthy, so basically as long as it continues to produce plums, which it seems like it is, we'll keep it, but if it starts to not produce, we might take it out and try to put in something else. But you can see all the little plums here. They're still green, but hopefully in the next couple of months we'll be getting a huge bumper crop of plums. They look like Italian plums to me, but I'm no plum expert, so we'll see when the time comes. We'll get a better idea of exactly what variety they are. We've had some, you know, get dried out and shriveled up from the heat, but there's still a lot hanging on, so I think it'll be okay as long as we don't get any more massive heat waves. So that's the plum tree, and then if we turn around we can head over to the apple tree. This is a big cherry tree, but it is not a producing cherry tree. We got those beautiful cherry blossoms in the spring, and we weren't sure if it was going to produce cherries, but it produced like little tiny ones, started to, and then they all fell off. So that was a bummer, but it'll be less of a mess, I suppose. All right, and then this tree over here, this giant one, is an apple tree. You can see the apples up there. It is absolutely loaded, and it's a very big tree, so it's going to be quite the ordeal to get all the apples when the time comes, but it'll be exciting. We were told by the guy that was living here, like the caretaker of the property, that they're really delicious apples, so we're really excited about that. Here's another giant branch that's just loaded down with fruit. And so when we had the massive heat wave, you can see, let's see if I can get my camera up here, some of the apples got burned. I don't know if you can see that. So we lost some, but not all, definitely. And so hopefully we'll still have a really good crop. Here we go. This is what the burned apples look like. Apparently the previous record for this area was 108 degrees, and we got up to 100, and we saw at our place as high as 114. So we totally blew that record away, and the apples, they didn't take it too well. But thankfully, not all of them were affected. We still have tons that will be great for applesauce, apple butter. I'm super excited. So we're in the backyard. There's the back of the house. There's the garden over there. And then over in the front, we have one more fruit tree that I'll show you. All right, so I said one, but there's actually two. I forgot about this little tiny one over here. we'll see what it does. It is actually a pear tree. It has 3 different kinds of pears, and the only reason I know that is because it still had the tag on here. So it had, it says, let's see, so it says combination pear, a complete pear orchard in one tree, great for small yards. So this is the Anjo pear branch, and then it has camise pears, and then this is the camise pear branch, and then down here it has Bartlett pears. So it'll be interesting to see how that grows and what we get from that in the years to come. I imagine it was just planted not too terribly long ago. And then now the last fruit tree is this cherry tree, and it has very sour pie cherries. Talia picked a bunch the other day, and she made a cherry pie, which she and Autumn did together, and it turned out great. So they're great for pies, not great for eating, but there's still a lot on here. We haven't had the wherewithal to come get them all and do anything with them yet. So those are the fruit trees we have and our garden for the year. Let me know what you guys are growing in your garden, and if you have any great fruit trees, any recommendations that you'd have for things or trees we should plant in the near future, let me know. I'd love to hear it, and I'll see you again in the next video. You don't need to water the creek. Just water the plants. Water inside the tires. No, inside the tires, like the dirt. There you go. There you go. Oh, come, scoot back a little bit. Make it rain. Can you make it? No, up, up. Make it rain. There you go. Make it. No, make it rain on the garden, not on me. You stinker. Did you water Mommy?
Yeah, me.
And you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it feel nice?
Yeah. It's cold out to me.
It's cold, actually. Yeah, it is. I told you.
I want to do this.
You want to do the sprinkler? Yeah.